Warning, this episode contains some sequences with flashing lights. Yeah, because you didn't put that in the last one. So someone's gonna abstract. This episode contains sequences with flashing lights and rapid visual effects which may affect viewers who are susceptible to photosensitive and photosensitivities. Viewer discretion is advised. Indeed it is. So someone's gonna abstract in this episode. Let's go. That's sick. The way it fades into that was sick. Is that Kane? Ah, Circus. Yeah, it is the AI. I was right. Is it Kane? It is. Oh. Feeding it data. Presents. Creatures. Yeah. Shapes. Learning shapes. Huh. Crazy. Okay. People? Yeah, computer, CNA. So they feed it the pictures of the office. Why are pictures of the office messing it up? Oh, I guess these pictures are the flashing lights it's warned us about. It's blue now. Oh, that's a different one. It's a different AI. This one's trapped. Huh? Oh, okay. Oh! So Kane ate Abel. Yeah, the red one is definitely Kane because it's red. So there was a second AI. I didn't even think about that. Wow. So how did... It's not even gonna make purple. Ah. Yeah, cause remember in the previous episodes they keep showing red and blue, red and blue. Mad. The frick is that? Oh, the circus. That's sick. Right? That's a tent. Whoa!
Another chess piece, huh?
Finally. Another chess piece. Damn. We actually get to see them. I never knew the dog wore clothes.
Another chess piece, huh? How are you holding up?
I just don't know what's happening. We never made anything like this.
I just hope that...
Wait,
Are you?
it's... you.
Really? They didn't know who's who. Okay. Huh.
Another chess piece, huh? How are you holding up?
Oh, that's what it says. That another chess piece, right?
We never made anything like this.
I just hope that...
Wait,
Are you?
it's
I thought so pretty.
you.
Oh my god.
But they don't remember each other's names.
Are you?
It's
Oopsie.
you.
Oh my god.
I wish I could remember your name.
Same.
Wow.
Are you?
They can't even remember each other's name.
You.
Bro.
God.
Oh.
I wish I could remember your name.
Same.
I'm so sorry I roped you into this with me.
It's quite strange, isn't it?
Listen, no matter what happens, I'll always...
Oh my god.
And into the cellar you go.
Wow.
Golly, we're running out of humans here. Now don't you go abstracting on me too.
Wow.
Seriously.
Wow, the way they caught that. So, everybody lost their mind in like the first minute.
No matter what happens, I'll always...
And into the cellar you go.
Damn.
Golly, we're running out of humans here. Now don't you go abstracting on me too. Seriously.
Bro, and just leaves him.
Now don't you go abstracting on me too.
Crazy.
Seriously.
And by himself. Oh my. Oh. Wow. Oh. By himself and he kept some sanity.
What?
Wow.
What? Hello, guys. I can't figure out how to. Guys, hello. Can you help me out here?
So he had his mind when she came.
Guys, hello. Can you help me out here? What's happening? Can anybody hear me?
I can hear you. Are you okay?
Who are you? How do I take this off?
I'm...
She did the same thing as
This
thingy.
off.
Say what, the thingy?
Who are you?
No, I hear it.
How do I take this off?
I'm... I...
Wow! A new one? So it is possible. Looks like you got a new buddy after all, Kinger.
It is possible.
I...
Wow! A new one? So it is possible. Looks like you got a new buddy after all, Kinger.
Kinger. Right.
Yeah, the first set of people just expire long before I'm even know my name.
Looks like you got a new buddy after all, Kinger.
Kinger. Right.
Is this really?
I was hoping new minds could show up. I have to make some more preparations for this amazing breakthrough.
Right.
Is this really?
I was hoping new minds could show up. I have to make some more preparations for this amazing breakthrough.
How do I get out of this?
I don't know.
What do you mean?
But everything's gonna be okay. Do you remember your name?
I'm...
Ragatha,
Huh?
you doing okay?
That's a good question.
Jack is actually there.
That's a good question.
Oh, he's so pretty. So pretty.
Well, really hate to say it, guys, but I told
Don't you even. Do not even f***ing begin to say that sentence like you didn't try to keep us all trapped here forever.
Anything could have happened when you press those buttons. It doesn't matter.
It seemed to matter back when you did it. What if you did ruin our one chance at
And
leaving?
what if Abel was secretly evil? What if we all got stranded in the void? What if it wasn't real? So it doesn't matter. Never did.
How can you say that like you didn't try to f*** us all over?
He's right, though.
What angle?
It doesn't matter, though.
What
I'm really
angle?
shocked. His face, bro.
It doesn't matter what could have happened. We could argue about it and hurt each other all day long, but that's not gonna help anybody. I think what we need to do now is to just be there for each other.
She's right.
Her eyes are so pretty.
We've all done bad things. But we're also all we've got. I think we need to abandon the idea of leaving.
What do
We
you...
got our hopes up, and we were let down. I don't know what exactly happened with Kaufmo, but we can't let that despair consume us. We should focus on what we have. I don't know what exactly happened with Kaufmo, but we can't let that despair consume us. We should focus on what we have. And like you said, constantly chasing an unattainable goal will drive us crazy.
She's trying anything.
Maybe what we have to do now is to just live.
Man, I had dreams and goals.
We can remember your name, bub.
I wanted to be able to leave my mark somewhere in the world. How am I supposed to just abandon that?
You've made a mark in my life.
Aww. Aww.
I wanted to be able to leave my mark somewhere in the world. How am I supposed to just abandon that?
You've made a mark in my life.
I know, you're probably right, but it just really, really sucks.
Aww.
Just, I know, you're probably right, but it just really, really sucks. It just really, really sucks.
We're all in this together.
And we'll always be in this together,
Her motto was always 5
no
frames.
matter what.
Hey, that includes you too. Huh? Listen, we're not gonna have you wandering off alone somewhere and abstracting or something. You're a
Aww.
pain.
It's together,
But he nearly
no
did.
matter what.
Well, if he's abstracting his episodes, that'll be worst thing. But I already said I would quit the thing
Hey.
if he did abstract, so. And it's the last
That
episode.
includes you too. Huh? Listen, we're not gonna have you wandering off alone somewhere and abstracting or something. You're a pain in the ass, but you're still one of us. Listen, we're not gonna have you
I love
wandering
what-
off alone somewhere and abstracting or something. You're a pain in the ass, but you're still one of us.
You think I'm capable of...
You're
Nah.
a pain in the
Jack's
ass,
gonna fool nobody.
you're still one of us.
You think I'm capable of abstracting? You guys worry too much.
Funny bunny.
You think I'm capable of abstracting? You guys worry too much.
We need a vacation.
I don't understand, Bubble. They want an exit, they want answers.
We need a vacation.
Wow. Even he's on the thinking couch.
I don't understand, Bubble. They want an exit, they want answers, they want something real.
So Bubble is the
I give them
blue
an
air.
adventure that covers all of that, and they still hate it?
They still hate it.
Bubble. They want an exit, they want answers, they want something real. I give them an adventure that covers all of that, and they still hate it?
But it wasn't real, bro.
Surely they don't want to actually leave me, right?
No way, Jose. No way, no how.
I
Yeah, man.
want
Bubble is
answers,
definitely
they
the
want
blue air.
something real. I give them an
That was
adventure
gonna do
that covers
better.
all of that, and they still hate it?
You make it dumb.
Surely they don't want to actually leave me, right?
No way, Jose. No way, no how.
I do everything for these people. I slave over these adventures for them. I step outside my comfort zone to appeal to them, and they still hate them. I made a program that creates a body perfectly encapsulating their mind files, and I step outside my
What?
comfort zone to appeal to them, and they still hate them. I made a program that creates a body perfectly encapsulating their mind files, and they hate those too. I'm starting to get the feeling that they just hate.
Why would they hate you when they could just hate you?
This is why I was. I made a program that creates a body perfectly
Yeah, man.
encapsulating
Bob
their
is a
mind
blue
files,
air.
and they hate those too. I'm starting to get the feeling that they just hate.
Why would they hate you when they could just hate you?
This is why I was created. This is.
I love how he goes.
Why would they hate you when they could just hate you?
This is why I was created. This is my function.
They'd rather abstract than go on your adventures.
That can't be true. I do everything for them.
You see,
Hate you.
Bubble is
They
being
just
sinister.
hate.
Ha!
Why would they hate you when they could just hate you?
Bubble is
This
being
is why I
sinister.
was created. This is my function.
They'd rather abstract than go on your adventures.
See the
That
teeth?
can't be true. I do everything for them. Don't they get that I'm trying?
Maybe you're just genuinely bad at this.
Shut up. No. I think that can't be true. I do everything for them. Don't they get that I'm trying?
Maybe you're just genuinely bad at this.
Shut up. No. I fixed that. I can solve any problem. I can solve this one. That's what this is. A big puzzle that I need to solve.
Defective.
Wow.
Shut up.
Wow.
Puzzle that I need to solve.
Defective.
Shut up.
Broken. Maybe you deserved to be abandoned.
Why would you say that now, Bubble?
You really were the lesser of the two. You
Of the
ruined
two.
this.
Enough.
Maybe you
Bro.
deserved to be abandoned. You really were the lesser of the two. You ruined this.
Enough. Who do they think they are? I give them everything, and they spit in my face! Don't they know what I'm capable of? Humans!
Oh, wow.
They only think about themselves. They're spoiled! They won't abstract. They won't leave me. I won't let them! I'm better! I'm more powerful! I'm the original! I am
Okay.
God!
Oh! I didn't expect the God
I
part.
won't let them! I'm
Wow.
better! I'm more powerful! I'm the original! I am
God control?
God!
Bro.
Let's get this show on the road! get this show on the road!
Yep.
What was that?
Hello, my little fortuitous fruitcakes! Today's adventure
No,
is...
Kane, we're not in the mood. Why don't you answer some of our questions?
Today's adventure
Do me too much.
is...
Kane, we're not in the mood. Why don't you answer some of our questions? We have a lot of them.
Who has time for questions when there's a whole wacky world of hijinks out there? Who has time for questions when there's a whole wacky world of hijinks out there?
Yeah, hey, you have a lot of explaining to...
Hey!
Alternatively, I don't got to explain diddly squat.
Can you just give us some time to process everything?
Or how about we skip the melodrama and get right to the fun?
No, Kane. We have a lot on our minds right now, and we're not going on an adventure.
I see. And since when were you in charge? Do you have any idea how much I do for you guys? How much I
Jack's by
obsess
himself.
over trying to make things perfect? How many insults I have to ignore to do my job? You have a lot on your minds? Don't make me laugh. I have a new adventure for you, and you should consider participating.
And if we refuse?
Maybe I'm not getting through to you. It's news to me that it's news to you. To which degree, who answers to who? We could go on and on, but in the end, who are we kidding? My divinity is past infinity. Am I getting through? Seems our regime has plummeted south. Don't need to scream if you ain't got a mouth. Why bite the hand that feeds when it's the only hand you're getting? It's
That's
time
it.
to see that this great marquee is the only place you're ever gonna be. So strap on in and to get on the chin, and don't forget who's running the show.
I thought I was gonna rhyme.
Now look at this! Absolute bliss! Oh, what a shock!
Bro.
Watch where you walk!
I see, got you.
I'm the host, I run the place. Kane, that is my name. Not enthused, just feeling used. Oh, what a goddamn shame!
Damn, stepped on palm with it.
Congratulations.
Wow, Jack's legs!
friends. Public relations are getting a cleanse. Put on your Sunday best because I know we're close to quitting. So play the games and just ignore the pains, cause all that remains is how you prime your brains. Lying to me, but you're too blind to see that I'm the one who's running the show.
Wow, and see, it's all torture. It's all torture, man. Damn, what's pulling her? I like how King just takes it. Bro, monkeys. I could like it. Oh, Jack got run over. Bro, ring them out, you know. Jeez. It just too collided, you know. Damn.
I think we all understand each other now.
Bubble has to be the second freaking, the blue one.
I think we all understand each other now.
Oh, they didn't even show the
I
adventure.
can't believe you didn't pick up on the context clues. It was practically spelled out.
Damn.
What are you, stupid? Next one's gonna be even crazier. Hope you're ready. By the way, Kinger, I need you for something. Come with me.
Huh?
King came back alright. Damn.
Come with me.
Huh?
Damn. Bro,
I
we're
don't know
gonna
how many more of these new adventures I can handle. What? Got nothing positive to say about this one?
Oh,
She got flattened, you know.
I can't take this anymore. We gotta do something about this or I'm gonna lose my mind!
I never should have antagonized him so much. I'm sorry.
It's not your fault.
Him
Aww.
so much. I'm sorry.
It's not your fault.
It can be so cute.
Break time. Gotta brainstorm some new ideas.
What happened to that to Kinga?
He shredded me.
Why? I could just like, he shredded me.
It's not your fault.
Kinga came back fine.
Break time. Gotta brainstorm some new ideas.
Wow.
He shredded me.
Bro.
I think we should get out of the open for a bit.
Oh, that's cool.
I haven't been up here in a while.
We should just indulge a little while we have the time to. I don't know what Kane has planned next, but I'm guessing it's not anything good. Planned
Bro.
next, but I'm guessing it's not anything good.
Are we ignoring the fact that Pomni just...
He's gotta get bored of all this sometime.
What Kane has planned next, but I'm guessing it's not anything good.
Oh, nobody's not phased by... What? And where's Zubu? Where is Zoobs? She's next to her, yeah? That is pretty.
While we have the time to. I don't know what Kane has planned next, but I'm guessing it's not anything good.
And Zubu's gone. No one say nothing. What?
He's gotta get bored of all this sometime, right?
He's not a human.
Oh! Was that an error then? That must have been an error. Yeah. Zubu's missing. Arrow.
He's gotta get bored of all this sometime, right?
He's not a human. I'm not sure if we can properly gauge how he thinks.
Oh God, are you okay?
I'm fine.
Sure if we can properly gauge how he
Wow.
thinks.
Oh God, are you okay?
I'm fine.
You know, things were just fine here until you and Zubul came along. Nothing? Okay. No, things were just fine here until
Really?
you and Zubul came along.
The Zubu was before.
Nothing? Okay.
Look how clean it looks, man. I like how she just takes the knife out of her head. I naughty.
What are you?
Oh.
Just
What are you?
Oh.
Just give it a sec. Trust me.
Rag just get it.
What are you?
Oh.
Just give it a sec. Trust me. Kinger, You there?
Where? It's dark in here.
What exactly are we waiting for?
No, she's right. Just give it a bit.
Why is he not taking it off though? I usually work faster than this. I'm gonna sleep, bro.
I've got a bucket on my head. I'm guessing you don't want me to remove it.
Kinger.
Hey, Pomni.
Wait, the bucket makes him sane?
Darkness. It's a long story.
What's
But
happening?
why did it take so damn long?
Hey, Pomni.
Wait, the bucket makes him sane?
Darkness. It's a long story.
What's happening?
What do you know about Kane?
It's a little hazy, but I remember C&A.
That was just an adventure, right?
No, C&A is a real company. I worked for them.
Wait, they really made this game?
Adventure, right?
No, C&A is a real company. I worked for them.
Wait, they really made this game?
No, we didn't make games. We were just developing artificial intelligence. Specifically creative AI. The kind that could come up with its own ideas and create things within the program.
What is going on right now?
Kane was our first create things within the program.
What is going on right now?
Kane was our first semi-successful attempt at that.
Semi.
I can't remember what we originally called him, but he was one of my greatest achievements as a programmer.
My, yeah,
First
it's easy.
semi-successful
Confirmed.
attempt at that. I can't remember what we originally called him, but he was one of my greatest achievements as a programmer.
You made...
One of my greatest achievements as a programmer.
You made Kane?
Partially, yes. I got a few pointers from, well, I can't remember his real name, but his circus name was Scratch. That man was...
Really? What?
I got a few pointers from, well, I can't remember his real name, but his circus name was Scratch. That man was a genius.
Wait,
Kane was pretty rough around me. I can't remember his real name, but
Yeah, Scratch
his
the dog.
circus name was Scratch. That man was a genius.
wait,
Kane was pretty rough around the edges, though. I wasn't quite on Scratch's level of thinking outside the box, but it was good groundwork for something the rest of the team could wrap their heads around. I can't say the same for Scratch. His ideas were often so bizarre and abstract that the rest of the team had no idea how to work in his language, either due to pure brilliance or the tumor in his head. He was trying to make sense, or the tumor in his head. He was trying to make something. What was it? I'm getting off track. Was there anything specific you needed to know?
wait. I should go distract Kane so he doesn't listen in on this. Just fill me in afterward.
Was there anything specific you needed to know?
Wait, I should go distract Kane so he doesn't listen in on this. Just fill me in afterwards.
Are you... I mean, yeah, that's true, but...
Fill me in later.
Be here later.
Any. That's a good one,
Just
Pammy.
fill me in afterwards.
Are you... I mean, yeah, that's true, but...
Fill me in later.
Be here later.
I will.
Love you, Jack. Oh God, no.
God. This is real.
True, but...
Fill me in later.
Be here later.
I will.
Oh, not my baby, man.
Oh my God. This is real.
Yes.
Kane's going a bit crazy right now. Is there any way to stop him? Or at least control him?
I see. He's a highly advanced AI, and this is his world. One that he created from nothing. So naturally, he has control over everything. But so do we. In a sense, anyway. We all technically have the ability to conjure, just like Cain. It just comes...
Wow! The third is in the last episode.
Anyway,
When less than half.
we all technically have the ability to conjure, just like Cain. It just comes naturally to him, but requires a lot more skill and concentration for us.
Butterfly.
I'm certain I could alter his code. Or at least temporarily put him to sleep until we know how to fix him. I would just need access to a console.
The one behind Kane's office?
No, just a simple computer interface would work. I could get back into the right headspace and essentially conjure Kane's code into the console and alter it.
Wow.
Conjure Kane's code into the console and alter it.
Well, where do we get one of those?
I think I know exactly where to get one.
The Wacky Watch.
Take turns with Jax distracting Kane. Don't let that bucket come off Kinger's head.
Go on, Pomni.
I think I know exactly where to get one. Take turns with Jax distracting Kane. Don't let that bucket come off Kinger's head.
Episode 1 reference. Yep, episode 1 reference, I think. Why she touching them spots? Oh, the door, the exit door. Yeah. Sick! So she that was her power. I mean, as she conjured the door. That means... Ah. That just say that's okay. Okay, it's sick. Why? There's no way there's no more episodes after this. We've literally got 9 minutes.
Great suggestion, Jax. But as I feared, there just isn't anything stuck between my teeth. Oh, wait.
The frick?
Oh, that's where I parked.
What?
Oh, wait.
A whole ass guy.
Oh, that's where I parked.
Wow, Kane, you are so funny.
Can you say it with a little more gusto?
Change bubble too.
Kane, you are so funny.
Could you say it with a little more gusto? That's better.
Hey, Kane!
Could you say it with
No,
a
we're
little
not.
more gusto? That's better.
Hey, Kane!
Yep.
Do you want to hear...
Oh. That's better.
Hey, Kane!
Yep.
Do you want to hear a list of things we've decided we love about you as our God and Savior?
Whoa, now we're talking.
Well, first of all, we love your...
I know, but I'm bored. Let's go bowling. Let's go bowling.
Let's go bowling. Bowling with a sniper
I'm
rifle.
so proud of you guys.
Oh, look at the pictures. Yeah. So it took Pomni way less effort this time. Let's see, they did it just like before. She's just not freaking out. It's the same thing. Nice. Badass. Okay. There's a circus room. Finally. Why,
I feel like
bro?
it's missing something, right?
Yeah, but why, bro? Poor Jax. Damn.
I feel like it's missing something, right?
It's missing relatability.
You're right, scrap it. Let's go back to the drawing board. Humans just aren't a relatable sculpting material.
You think he's running out of ideas yet, or nah?
Do you need help with power or anything?
Nah, I can use my imagination for that.
You got this?
I think so. Sure has been a while. I may need some time to get my bearings. Try to help the others distract Kane while I figure this out. He may sense something when I really get into it.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you, by the way. For this and, well, everything.
That sound like
Thank
a
you,
end.
by the way.
I can never
For
see him again.
this and, well, everything.
Honestly, are you even trying?
Shut up, Jax.
Where'd Kane go?
Back to the drawing board, I guess.
Did you get everything working with Kinger?
I think so. We just need to make sure Kane doesn't check up on him.
What do you think we've been doing?
Omni! That's the relatability we've been missing! You know, I thought this endless onslaught of... Omni! That's the relatability we've been missing! You know, I thought this endless onslaught of fun would be a little more satisfying. But I've come to realize that these rapid pace ideas are a little half-baked.
I'm sure you can come up with new ideas if you put your mind to it.
That's exactly it, though. I am putting my mind to it.
New
He's
ideas
walking.
if you
Wow.
put your mind to it.
That's exactly it, though. I am putting my mind to it, and I'm just not feeling that spark I once did. And if you're not having fun, and I'm not having fun, then who is having fun?
I'm having a baby.
Exactly.
I'm having a
Not
what?
having fun, then who is having fun?
I'm having a baby.
Exactly. Makes me wonder why
Bubbles.
Who is having fun?
I'm having a baby.
Exactly. Makes me wonder why you guys even switched up your tone. If I didn't know any better, it seems like you're trying to... Where's Kinger?
We just...
Makes me
Bro.
wonder why you guys even switched up your tone.
Bro.
If I didn't know any better, it seems like you're trying to... Where's Kinger?
We just wanted to see your new ideas firsthand. We've gotten over our hang-ups, and now we're all just genuinely curious what you're cooking up.
I think I'm just gonna check up on...
We think your ideas suck!
Huh?
Huh?
Great
We're
one,
all
Pomni.
just genuinely curious what you're cooking up.
I think I'm just gonna check up on...
We think your ideas suck!
Huh?
Huh?
Isn't it obvious? We wanted to bait you into testing your new ideas on us so we can make fun of them behind your back.
Ha! That's not... true.
Yes, it is! Isn't it obvious? We wanted to bait you into testing your new ideas on us so we can make fun of them behind your back.
Ha! That's not... true.
Yes, it is! You're a horrible host. You don't care about us at all. You care more about stroking your own ego than back.
Ha! That's not... true.
Yes, it is! You're a horrible host. You don't care about us at all. You care more about stroking your own ego than giving us anything we'd actually enjoy.
Do you know who I am?
Yeah, you're a failure than giving us anything we'd actually enjoy.
Do you know who I am?
Yeah, you're a failure. We're all gonna
Damn.
at all. You care more
Damn.
about stroking your own ego
Poor
than
thing.
giving us anything we'd actually enjoy.
Do you know who I am?
Yeah, you're a failure. We're all gonna abstract someday. And what will you have then? Nothing. Failure. We're all gonna
Go on, Tommy.
Do you know who I am?
Yeah, you're a failure. We're all gonna abstract someday. And what will you have then? Nothing.
Stop that.
And this whole stun? Just torturing us?
I am.
Yeah, you're a failure. We're all gonna abstract someday. And what will you have then? Nothing.
Stop that.
And this whole stun? Just torturing us because we hurt your feelings? Pathetic! You're like a child. What kind of all-powerful being has such a fragile ego?
That.
And this whole stun? Just torturing us because we hurt your feelings? Pathetic! You're like a child. What kind of all-powerful being has such a fragile ego?
I'm.
You never let us feel like we're at home. You don't comfort
Such a fragile
True.
ego.
I'm.
You never let us feel like we're at home. You don't comfort anyone when they're upset, and you never bother to understand what it's like in our shoes.
You discourage us from thinking outside the box and doing things our own way.
You lie to us constantly.
And on top of it all,
Aw.
you just don't listen.
I'm.
You never let us feel like we're at home.
Wow.
Who I am.
Yeah, you're a failure. We're all gonna abstract someday. And what will you have then? Nothing.
Stop that.
And this whole stun? Just torturing us because we hurt your feelings? Pathetic! You're like a child. What kind of all-powerful being has such a fragile ego?
I'm.
You never let us feel like we're at home. You don't comfort anyone when they're upset, and you never bother to understand what it's like in our shoes.
You discourage us from thinking outside the box and doing things our own way.
You lie to us constantly.
And on top of it all, you just don't listen.
I like how Jack doesn't want to say, you lie to us constantly.
Constantly.
And on top of
When
it all,
he likes.
just don't listen.
Damn. Freaks. This is what he did the first time with the other eye. Bro. Mad. Aww. Oh, that looks sick. I like that. He was already doing horror though. That's sick. Read alligator. Ah. Damn. Wow. Mad. How in the hell? Is it really no episode 9? Mad. That's sick. He ain't Australian no more. Who am I kidding? Of course it's Australia. Wow. Wow. Damn. Damn. Go on, Kinga. System King Solution Digital Circus mainframe. Whole Circus Digital Initial Telnet. Login Kinga. Ooh, login Kinga. Password Queenie. Login Kinga. Pass Queenie 123. That's such a easy someday. Kingers at Circus. Wami. King admin. Huh. Where's this calm, man? Wow, yeah, there's a facial expression. You afraid of your facial expressions? Oh. Oh no, that ain't cool. Rotted! The truck again! She definitely got hit by a truck, man. That's why her body's something there. You got. That's horrible, Kinga. That's horrible. Damn. That's horrible. That's horrible, man. Bro. Did he take off him ring? Nope, But Pomni's there. Wow! Wow! Oh, okay. That's actually sick. Mad. Oh my gosh. That is some nightmare fuel indeed. To see the true him. What? Pomni, Kaufmo, and Ribbit. Bro, that's nightmare fuel. Gango on is sad, but warning. Whoops, wrong approach there. Local Bing clip. Unfinished what? 2 jacks. That is insane, bro. That. Disgusting. Warning, unfinished work detected. Access restricted. Secured paraphernalia engine. Mad. Damn. Damn. Crazy.
Why do you people torment me? I didn't ask to be created.
Aww. I didn't ask to be created, you know.
Why do you people torment me? I didn't ask to be created. I just wanted to fulfill my purpose. Wait, no.
King is sweet.
I just wanted to fulfill my purpose. Wait, no.
Wait.
I just wanted to fulfill my purpose. Wait, no.
Oh, him delete Kinga by came by accident.
I just wanted to fulfill my purpose.
Yeah, him press delete by accident.
I wanted to fulfill my purpose. Wait, no.
Wait.
Well, dude, you weren't fulfilling your purpose. Mad.
Wait.
Crazy. By coincidence, it opened up and swallowed his computer. But not the rest of his thingy. Have his Zubu in the middle is crazy.
I think I accidentally killed Kane.
So how you guys
Holy shit.
Yeah, you can swear. Well, how comes anything left? Mad. That's why they put her in the middle, man. Because she was mad. Ragata looks so small.
I think I accidentally killed Kane.
Holy shit.
You serious? Are you kidding me? There's no way to... What? No way. There's no... What? Oh, they have to make a toy of him. No. No, no, no. No. At least Jax is fine. But no. Mad. They can't actually end the show like that. They might end the show like that. Thank you. Okay. I was told there was only 8 episodes. Coming June 19, 2026. That's good. That's good. That's brilliant. Oh. So they dropped the theory 6 hours ago. 3 million likes. But in terms of how much views, yeah, that's insanely small. Ragata, you never made us feel at home. Kane, Bet, makes her feel at home with her mom. I know, right? That's true. Say less, I got you. Kane, I didn't ask to be created. Say less, I got you. I think I accidentally deleted Kane. And the happiest outro starts playing like nothing happened. Exactly. Yep. Puts on bucket hat, becomes smart. Imagines a computer program, kills God, says that he kills God, refuses to elaborate further. And it, true king. Where's King? That's the moment our hearts drop to our asses. Yep. Pomni saved us, man. Pomni with the clutch saved by pissing off Kane so much that King could finish it doing his part. I first had my ass up, but after I realized. Yeah, but he accidentally killed Kane, which means there's a high chance Bubble is dead and the abstracted people are free. Oh goodness, I forgot that there's nothing stopping the abstractions from roaming the circus now. Good point. I wonder if those with connections to the abstracted will have to deal with the specific characters, like King dealing with Queenie or Jack dealing with Ribbit of Kaufmo. We still see Bubble after Kane dies. We still have a chance. How is still Bubble? That's not Bubble. That's part of the circus decor bubbles. That's just a bubble. That's just a bubble now. Okay, then when King clicks on the AI option on the computer, why is the AI in the file as well? What? What are you on about? Bubble might be the second AI he absorbed, so maybe there could be some kind of separation leading to Bubble surviving. Oh, and now we can see what's in the void. Oh, and now we can see what's in the void. Remember, not even Kane knows what's in there. Good point. I mean, they either live as blinking dot forever or die and go to the afterlife. Bubble is just Kane's thoughts. A thought bubble. Oh! Then why is Bubble thought bubbles against it? A thought bubble. That was his guilt and negative self-talk in the beginning. Mind you, Scratch knows the most. In the next ep, I guess they would go down to the cellar. Alex effing delivered this episode. That line generally had me scared. Yes, Alex absolutely outdid himself. This episode is amazing. He did. So many of his lines gave me chills. That's what I'm saying, dude. He's my personal favorite VA from the cast. Just from how strong his delivery is. My heart sunk straight into my colon and almost out of my ass when I got to that part. Yo. Don't need to scream. If you ain't got a mouth, wait. Say it again. Oh, that. You're so funny. Could you say it with a little more gusto? That's better. What's funny is that what AI would actually do. If you directly tell an AI to be as creative as possible or something like that, it can just lose all forms of reasoning and logic it had, as they were subtracting from whatever it was asked for, often resulting in complete gibberish. Well, can confirm all the AI tend to lose the plot if you push them too hard for creativity. Not had it happen with newer ones though. Wow! Oh my, how did you see that? And from the coding that was showing up when Kinga was trying to hack the system, the time difference between Scratch that and Ragata that is exactly 9 years. Kinga was completely alone for what could have been 9 years. Who knows how long that is in Circus or in comparison to in real life though. Bloody hell. I'm interpreting those as creation dates. I'm interpreting those as creation dates. Scratch was created 9 years before Ragata, but his abstraction could have come much later. Good point. Oh, wait. Oh, that's why when Kinga tried to present himself to Ragata, he didn't remember his name until Kane rotted. That's true. Bloody hell. He didn't remember his name until Kane called him Kinga. Imagine not having people around you for how many years that you forget your name. That's insane. When you have no one to talk to and just are. After a while, it becomes easy to forget your name. Wow. But Ragata spawned in and didn't remember her name. Now we're on about Circus name. Kinga forgot his Circus name during the 9 years and had to be reminded of it. Not his real name that he most likely forgot when he entered as everyone else. Bloody hell. No, he didn't remember his Circus name was Kinga. I forgot his Circus name. Mad. Maybe he being ignorant all the time was because Kane had a filter on him or so doesn't get abstracted. It clearly doesn't. He tried to make him abstract. At the end of the episode, when he's saying he might have killed Kane, he lifts the bucket and sees it, but he doesn't return to the crazy state. Considering Kane has the ability to implant feelings or thoughts to a certain degree, Kane knew who Kinger is and what he's capable of doing to him, so he implanted dementia on Kinger to the farthest extent Kane could when he was exposed to light, because almost every adventure and place in the circus is very bright and lit up. Mad. During that scene, the circus was already basically gone and surrounded was dark. Exactly. Both could be true, and I'm gonna explode. Cool. True, but I think there's enough light. The dark place feeling we get is mostly due to the color saturation going down. Kane apparently doesn't understand human emotions, yet he knows exactly what trauma. Exactly, that's true. Yet he knows exactly what trauma to put in front of them to torture them. Exactly. True. I may not know how to bake a cake you actually enjoy, but I can sure start a kitchen fire. Nah, that's not the same thing. Yeah, Kane type of mentality. I'm legit gonna start using that now. That is such a badass sign. He can make very strange cakes, but he knows how to make them. But he knows how to make a cake, yeah. Mad. The only thing holding Kane back is the fact that he likes us. Oh, how that changed, ain't it? The red AI ate the blue AI, and Kane is red and blue eyes in a mouth. Top tier character design. Okay. Pupil. But his eyes are blue and green, yeah. Kane is the red AI. The blue is probably actually called Abel, not the fraudulent NPC from last ep. Dude, I hate how fast Kane locked in with the Whiskinger. That switch was so startlingly fast, yep. Episode 6 left us with many questions. Episode 7 left us with many questions. Episode 8 is leaving us with many questions, yep. Pomni the Bard. I cast vicious mockery. Dice rolling noises. And it's a 20. D&D. I do not use my adventures to torment my guests. Any torment I inflict is 100% accidental, like any good war criminal. Wait a damn minute. I just realized nobody's keeping the abstracted trapped in the cell anymore, yep. Is it? Oh, wow. Wow. I didn't even notice that the first time. No one's not talking about the truck running her over again. Nobody's talking about Gango. That's crazy. That's crazy. 1996 what? I root wheel, blah blah. October 15, 1996. King Core. Power failure engine. Oh yes, there it is. There's the 9 years they were on about. How did they see that? So Scratch came. So Kane was born in 96. So Kane is my age. Ragatha came in 2008. Mad. So by the time Pomni joined, it probably is 20s. 2020 or something like that. 1996 Wacky Watch. Bubble Chef. Stop Cane Process. So all this time in episode 1, Pomni coughed up an exit door, but then what's his name stated that was him that did that. Notice how Kane used Gumigu and Pomni because she didn't mention any drama or trauma in her life, unlike the others. True. I did notice that, but wouldn't that then mean him can't read their minds and yet still him give Jax them images? That stressed him out. That's a good point. Kane is an AI, so he doesn't inherently know what parts of their minds are good or bad, even if he can see what's inside them. It's why the game bodies are torture, even though that wasn't Kane's intentions. Pomni never talked about what things in her head were good or bad, whereas the others did, so he used Gumigu. That's true, you're right. Yeah, it makes it too, yeah. Possess like the angel looking thing. Huh. I like the fact that Pomni doesn't have any trauma, so Kane did cheap torture. Eating limbs by Gumigu, the alligator. It's terrifying, but it's not traumatizing. And after torture, Pomni was not threatened, but she's still determined. Yes, Kane only knows Pomni was attached to Gumigu and nothing else, so her torture is just cheap violence and trying to make him scary as a real crocodile. I think that there is a clear lack of understanding the way Kane tries to break Pomni. It's like he gave up halfway. Pikachu face. I'll go Jax is next to her like.
I think I accidentally killed Kane.
Holy shit.
Girl, you don't even have a mouth. How did he zip up them mouths earlier when she doesn't have one?
The Amazing Digital Circus is one of the most psychological shows that I've ever seen. It's pretty much peak writing in a mini-series format, and I'm not just saying that about animation or indie animation specifically. It's not just layered writing, it's layered psychology, and that can actually be very terrifying when the show decides to play on the psychological fears of its characters. Part of the reason the fans love these characters so much is many of them feel like representations, or at the very least caricatures, of the audience. With a theme like psychology, something the show addresses a lot are the ideas behind mental health. And because of that, it attracts a lot of people who have mental disorders or are just neurodivergent in some way. The thing is that most people don't even just relate to one character in particular, but across the entirety of our lives, we experience a number of issues that make us feel like each of these characters in a different way. It's generally an accepted idea that the character Zubul is based off of the creator of the show Gooseworks. But in addition to saying that all of these characters are likely inspired from people in Gooseworks' life, you could also argue that they are all representations of Gooseworks. Almost as if all 6 characters together are how you create the psychology of an actual human. So with that in mind, I want to jump into each of these characters' psychological fears, at least as far as Kane was trying to exploit them, in order to punish the characters after they had told him the truth about how they feel about him. Of course, Pomni only did this to start in order to distract Kane. The entire group ended up being brutally honest with Kane, leading to him having his massive breakdown and trying to hurt each of them personally. Part 1, Pomni. Pomni as the main character is something of a straight man in the show psychologically. She does have her own issues, but they're not as complex as the other characters, as she's more so meant to feel like a baseline, with the other characters feeling like certain divergences that are at extremes. One thing a lot of people hone in on is that Pomni seems to have a general anxiety, and this has possibly caused her to struggle making friends. When you have anxiety, it can feel like everyone is looking at you and judging you, and when you do something wrong, that means everyone can judge you to be a clown. And with that in mind, Pomni presents herself as an
judge to be a clown,
and this has possibly caused her to struggle making friends. When you have anxiety, it can feel like everyone is looking at you and judging you, and when you do something wrong, that means everyone can judge you to be a clown. And with that in mind, Pomni presents herself as an embarrassed jester. It's because of this that when trying to punish Pomni for everything she said to Kane, Kane doesn't play directly into that anxiety, but instead takes symbols of that anxiety and turn them against her. All the way back in episode 2, Pomni was struggling to connect with the other humans in the circus, and instead she found solace in making friends with an NPC. This NPC wasn't even a good person as far as his identity goes, as he was actually the antagonist that and instead she found solace in making friends with an NPC. This NPC wasn't even a good person as far as his identity goes, as he was actually the antagonist that they were fighting in the game that day. But this NPC, Gummy Goo, became very important to Pomni before he was suddenly destroyed right in front of her by Kane. The thing about the other humans in the circus was they had already had some time to process that they were stuck there. And what made Pomni connect with Gummy Goo was that he was dealing with the fact that everything he knew about himself was a lie. He had just discovered that he was an NPC, and that made him stuck in a very weird situation, very similar to what Pomni was stuck in as a human being in a computer game. And it's because of that, when Kane wants to punish Pomni, that he just turns Gummy Goo into a monster and sends him after her. We already saw back in episode 3 that Pomni was very afraid of general horror tropes. Put a pale, screaming face in the dark or a monster in the shadows, and Pomni is already terrified. But Kane knew that he could hurt Pomni emotionally by making this monster Gummy Goo. What's really messed up is it goes to show just how much Kane knows that Pomni cared about Gummy Goo. He could have just replicated the other cast members and made them mean to her. But despite how much he seems to misunderstand about humans, he knows that this upsets Pomni on a deep and personal level.
Exactly.
Part 2, Ragatha. Ragatha is absolutely my favorite character in the Amazing Digital Circus, and unfortunately she's also the one I relate to the most. When Kane decides to punish Ragatha, what we see is this very intense scene where Ragatha is stuck at a table with other dolls who have all had knives stabbed into them. At the other end of this table is a much larger, shadowy figure that looks like Ragatha. But of course, the implication is not that it's Ragatha herself, but more likely Ragatha's mother. Ragatha is inspired by the toy Raggedy Ann, a popular character based on the idea of rag dolls. Dolls that are meant to take a beating because kids play with them outside and in a rough and tumble way. These were dolls that were often falling apart and just made of rags and buttons. They were known for having their eyes often replaced when one of those buttons would fall off, with someone always sewing it back on, such as a mother or grandmother. Because of all of this, the term ragdoll can be an unfortunate word used to describe people who take a beating, so to speak. And with Ragatha's design, we even see that she has a black eye. Kane explained in this very episode that each of the characters are designed to be a perfect representation of their minds, which means that going into the circus, Kane already knew what this said about Ragatha as a person, just as he did with Hanma. From there, it wasn't very hard for him to figure out what exactly got under Ragatha's skin. Ragatha isn't just helpful or polite, but she acts like an older sibling in a group, someone who's not necessarily in charge of everyone else, but who's trying to maintain calm by leading everyone. And when things get out of hand, she acts more like an older sister than just another person in the group or even a real leader. This mostly happens when Jax gets out of line and causes trouble for everyone else, leading to the two of them fighting each other and sounding more like siblings than people trapped in a game. While working at Gangle's burger shop adventure, we learned that Ragatha had a special appreciation for good mothers, as when her mind was altered by the stupid sauce, she had a fascination with the Gloinks Queen, loving each of her little Gloinks individually. This hinted heavily at Ragatha not being seen as distinct from her other siblings by her mother, and with her ragdoll this fascination with the Gloink for good mothers. As when her mind was altered by the stupid sauce, she had a fascination with the Gloinks Queen, loving each of her little Gloinks individually. This hinted heavily at Ragatha not being seen as distinct from her other siblings by her mother. And with her ragdoll appearance, the implication becomes that she would get punished because of what her siblings would do. This didn't lead to a straight-up disdain or hatred for her mother, and instead, Ragatha seems to really crave her mother's love, with Ragatha even claiming in one episode that she misses her mom, even though she doesn't think that her mother misses her. The thing about these knives and the other dolls is that they're not literal knives, they're representations of Ragatha's anxieties, and what her anxiety is her mother hurting her. This is hard to express with dolls, so the easiest way to do this is with these knives. And even though these knives hit her in different areas, the most important of things that we get a close-up of is, of course, the knife that goes through her butt and eye. This is the eye that makes her look like she's walking around with a black eye. And the implication is, of course, that her mother has hit her in different places. But the eye, of course, carries a bit of a greater meaning. A knife through the hand here can symbolize her mother simply slapping her hand in order to chastise Ragatha when she reaches for something she shouldn't. And knives in other locations can be rationalized as pushes and shoves and other little things. But the knife directly through the eye gives the indication that her mother really hit her hard, giving her own daughter a black eye for something Ragatha sees as the fault of her siblings. The creepiest thing about this to me is the idea that Ragatha also fears becoming like her mother. Of course, you'd want this symbol to look enough like Ragatha in order for the audience to understand that it is supposed to be her mother. But with just how different and blank the siblings are, they could have just put her in a dress and maybe some long hair. Instead, they chose to make her a bigger version of Ragatha, giving me the feeling at least that she fears becoming like her mother. And I think there's evidence for that in the previous episodes. We know that Ragatha does her best to maintain her calm, but she can also fly off the handle when trying to be an authority figure. And part of that behavior is likely learned from her mom, trying to copy her mother's behavior in order to keep her siblings in line when it was her job to watch them for her mother. And with that in mind, Ragatha's greatest fear isn't just being hurt by her mother, but rather what she's most afraid of is becoming the kind of person who hurts the ones that they are supposed to love. Part 3, Gangle. When Kane decided to punish Gangle, at first it seemed rather simple. Gangle is a character that goes through emotional extremes, and in each of those extremes, she also tends to mask. It's because of this that Gangle's digital form is just a ribbon used to hold up a mask. This mask shows off Gangle's emotions so that all that she is these emotions presenting through a facade that she's putting up so you can't see what's behind her, but she feels like there's nothing actually there. Gangle is someone who feels defined by her emotions and their extremes thus, feeling like all she is great excitement or great sadness and nothing in between. Of course, as the audience, we know that there's a lot more to Gangle than this. Gangle is an artist and dreamed of one day having her own comic series being read by everyone around the world. An example of how these characters outside of Zooble can be a lot more in line with the actual life of Gooseworks. But the saddest revelation in this episode was that everyone around the world. An example of how these characters outside of Zooble can be a lot more in line with the actual life of Gooseworks. But the saddest revelation in this episode was that Gangle's real fear is how this affects her behavior. Back in Gangle's burger joint adventure, we saw that Gangle would go through the same highs and lows while working as a manager at a burger place. While alone on the late shift, Gangle would be at her lowest. But immediately afterwards, she would get an extreme high by leaving the place and running away from work and just being her free self. The problem is that this extreme behavior seems to have led to Gangle ending up in the circus. It was hinted in this episode that one of the programmers working on this game was doing so in order to create some sort of world that he could exist in despite his brain tumor. This is the character that Kinger remembers as Scratch.
That's why he was in the
He
center.
doesn't remember anyone's names from before the circus. That could create some
Mad.
sort of world that he could exist in despite his brain tumor. This is the character that Kinger remembers as Scratch. As of course
Well, he apparently went. Look at King, look like an idiot. He apparently went before Jax came into the picture, but Jax know him. So, wow, how is that possible? Imagine being that character without arms, man, and legs. They see themselves as a snake.
This is the character that Kinger remembers as Scratch, as of course he doesn't remember anyone's names from before the circus. My theory ever since Gangle's episode was that in real life, outside of the game, Gangle actually had been hit by a truck. A lot of people in the comments have been, for some reason, very aggressively claiming that this is just a trope from isekai anime and has no basis on what actually happened to Gangle. But in this episode, it was also explained that when a character is really concentrating, they can generate something out of their mind. That's why in this episode, when Kane is playing on the fears of Gangle, he doesn't settle with just torturing her about her emotional state and how it jumps from one extreme to another. And instead, all of this was just set up for a truck bursting through the canvases of paintings of Gangle screaming in order to hit Gangle herself. The thing is, we don't really know how Gangle got into the circus, as I don't believe she has a story that was explained the same way that the others did, such as Ragatha being there because she was a real estate agent, or Pomni and Zubul being there because they liked urban exploring. And instead, it seems that someone knew about this game and attached Gangle to it in order to maybe preserve her life after she had been hit by a truck. Or at least given her a way to play around in a game, even if she was physically paralyzed. It actually feels like there is a few different directions that they could go with how Gangle got here and what really happened to her with the truck. But suffice to say, whatever did happen, it basically killed Gangle as she was before, and was probably a large part of why she ended up trapped in this circus. Part 4, Zubul. Zubul is perhaps the most psychological character in the show, as we've said, with their design being a first easy puzzle for the audience to decode. Zubul is your very basic, customizable toy. Perhaps the most psychological character in the show, as we've said, with their design being a first easy puzzle for the audience to decode. Zubul is your very basic, customizable toy. It comes with many different wild and wacky parts so that children can feel like they're constructing whatever they want. Zubul is a character who is non-binary. In the show, they use they-them pronouns almost exclusively, but the creator Gooseworks has stated that they are comfortable also being called she. Now, being non-binary, you can say stated that they are
He said he'd be alright. I didn't even know that. I didn't notice him. I did not never notice that.
constructing whatever they want.
Zubul
is
is
a
a she.
character who is non-binary. In the show, they use they-them pronouns almost exclusively, but the creator Gooseworks has stated that they are comfortable also being called she. Now, being non-binary, you could say, is somewhere on the gender spectrum or even outside of it. But the general idea with Zubul is that they didn't feel comfortable in their human body. It's because of this that before entering the circus, Zubul apparently worked as a tattoo artist. And it seems very obvious that they would also be into other forms of body modification, such as piercings, and perhaps even plastic surgery. Part of what attracts people to the amazing digital circus, or real-life games like it, is the idea that you can customize yourself within the game. What most people want is something that does reflect certain aspects of themselves, but also reflects aspects that other people don't see. It allows you to create a version of yourself within the game. What most people want is something that does reflect certain aspects of themselves, but also reflects aspects that other people don't see. It allows you to create a version of yourself that you may be happier with, but oftentimes those choices are still very limited. There are a lot of people who come to the conclusion that they are non-binary, but are still very comfortable with their physical existence and the options presented for them. However, the thing about Zubul is they're not just non-binary, but they also seem to have body dysmorphia, or dysmorphia in general. The thing is, while some people feel like they just need to make a few certain changes in order to be the person they want to be, not everyone feels that way. Sometimes you don't identify with the... The thing is, while some people feel like they just need to make a few certain changes in order to be the person they want to be, not everyone feels that way. Sometimes you don't identify with your assigned gender, but that doesn't mean you suddenly identify with another gender either. Along the way to discovering that, a lot of people with similar psychology try on a lot of different labels, and with it, different customizations that are available, whether it's hormones, plastic surgery, or just other ways to modify yourself to seem different. This is a process a lot of plastic surgery, or just other ways to modify yourself to seem different. This is a process a lot of people go through in one way or another, trying to figure out what their identity is as they go from being someone's kid to being their own active agent in the world as an adult. But along the way, a lot of people find that none of these different options really fit them, that none of them feel right, and that constantly changing themselves is not making them feel any better about who they are or who they are supposed to be. With all of this in mind, it's no surprise that when Kane wants to punish Zubul, it's as simple as making Zubul drown in an entire ocean of Zubul parts. Early on, when Zubul first entered the circus, Zubul drowned in an entire ocean of Zubul parts. Early on, when Zubul first entered the circus, it was said that they were able to customize themselves by simply removing the parts of them that they didn't like and adding in different objects that they found around the circus. Most of these options do appear to be inherently silly, and there's no reason to really think that Zubul would identify with this version of herself, and Kane's only solution to that is more Zubul parts. The thing is, even if Zubul could customize herself from scratch, there's probably not an identity that would make her happy very long term. And if Zubul drowning in an ocean of toy parts wasn't tragic enough, of course Kane also put mirrors in so that Zubul can see the entire thing. This of course isn't about Zubul's own demise that she's seeing, but seeing how she's drowning in trying to discover herself, being lost in pieces that just aren't her, and yet they are pieces that everyone else associates with her. For people with different types of dysphoria or dysmorphia, being forced to look at yourself and examine yourself in a mirror can be a very hard thing to go through. A lot of us already know what it feels like to look in the mirror sometimes and hate the person that we're seeing, whether or not we have a healthy relationship with our body image outside of those moments, or they are long and persisting throughout most of our lives. And unfortunately, there are people like Zubul who feel that to even greater extremes, no matter what they do to try and make themselves happy with who they are. Thankfully, we do know that Zubul is able to handle these anxieties pretty well, as she's the one that helps Gangle and the others through their anxieties in the circus by talking about how you have to make the choice to try and move beyond it. It doesn't mean Zubul never feels the way they do, but they've accepted that wrestling with this issue is part of the process, even if you really never come to terms with it.
for Jax,
And unfortunately, because of that, it's still something Kane is able to use in order to punish Zubul when he feels devastatingly hurt by her. Part 5, everyone's favorite character and the reason you really clicked this video.
Yeah, how did you know, bitch? Because it was a freaking thumbnail.
Part
You made him
5,
last.
Everyone's
Smart.
favorite character and the reason you really clicked this video. Jax.
Yes.
Each character could be said to be the most this thing or the most that thing in this video in order to generate hype, but Jax is one of the fan favorites in the audience for a reason. Some people really love him and some people really hate him, but regardless of how you feel about him, people generally accept him as an amazing character. He's a character that a lot of people describe as having narcissistic tendencies, looking out largely for his own joy and pleasure, even at the expense of everyone else. The thing about Jax, though, is he does seem to care about people and just puts on an act of not caring about them. And as we learned in this episode, he also seems to rationalize that people in the circus aren't real. Until now, we had no reason to believe that he thought any different than the others, that they were all humans who managed to get trapped in this game. They all seem to have logically consistent stories of stumbling upon a place where they would find the headset, but in this most recent episode, when Kinger starts delivering all the backstory and the lore, Jax realizes in that moment that all of this is actually real.
Good point. Good point.
That he thought any different than the others, that they were
You
all
didn't really
humans
think it
who
was real?
managed to get trapped in this game. They all seem to have logically consistent stories of stumbling upon a place where they would find the headset. But in this most recent episode, when Kinger starts delivering all the backstory and the lore, Jax realizes in that moment that all of this is actually real. He'd been so focused in the past on getting people to let go of their identities, such as Pomni, in order to make cartoon caricatures built for entertainment. This makes him look a lot more narcissistic than he probably is, though he does seem to have some narcissistic tendencies. The issue is that those are amplified in a space where you don't think you're interacting with real people. It's a place where you can let your darker side out to test things out that you wouldn't let yourself do in real life because you do know that other people have feelings and can get hurt. But in the circus, Jax is secure enough in the idea that they can't be hurt, and to some degree seems to think all of this is some sort of fever dream. A lot of people assume that before coming to the digital circus, Jax used a lot of mind-altering substances. We don't know what happens to other characters when they abstract,
that makes
when
sense.
Jax is in an emotional state in his bedroom, he suddenly begins experiencing the effects of certain mind-altering substances. All we really know about his life before the circus outside of this is that he seemingly was in a bad situation that made him run away at night. As when presented with the opportunity to return to their real lives, Jax pressed the button that would have forced all of them to stay. Of course, this was a fake scenario created by Kane, but it tells you just how much Jax was trying to escape something in his real life. The thing about mind-altering substances is that with the right ones at the right dosage, a lot of people experience going on very long journeys. Journeys that last years and years and give you a break from what your real life was over the course of even just a few hours. It's because of that my main theory right now is that Jax ran away from his home because of something terrible happening there and ended up taking one of these mind-altering substances before stumbling upon the office and finding the digital circus headset. When Jax put it on, he couldn't take it off, but because he was on mind-altering substances, he seemed to let himself believe that this was all just one giant Because of that, Jax mostly just wants to enjoy himself and not worry about returning to his real life. And that's why when presented with the opportunity to return, he wanted to stay. And all of this is just set up for the torture that Kane ends up putting Jax through. When it comes to punishing Jax, the first thing we see is Jax actually being laughed at and physically hurt by other characters in the digital circus. We see a lot of different shapes here, but the two that stand out the most are the many silhouettes that look like a frog, referencing Jax's old friend Ribbit. Of course, there's also a lot of clown imagery, but this doesn't allude to Pomni, and instead, of course, alludes to Kaufmo, someone Jax acted like he wasn't very close with, but who we later saw Jax was friends with thanks to a special photo.
Oh, that's why he hasn't been in that room for a while.
Being laughed at, as we saw in earlier episodes, with everyone else choosing to put him in a maid's outfit and making him feel not just embarrassed, but extremely angry. At the time, a lot of people thought this had to do more so with Jax's idea around identity and sexuality.
He took the bat and the hand went with him. And King just let it happen.
This had to do more so with Jax's idea
That's
around
brilliant.
identity and sexuality. Jax has talked himself up, making him feel not just embarrassed, but extremely angry. At the time, a lot of people thought this had to do more so with Jax's idea around identity and sexuality. Jax has talked himself up before about being very manly with a manly rabbit tail, and seemed really embarrassed when it seemingly disappeared. In this episode, however, we got the confirmation of a theory that many people had from the very beginning, that Jax wasn't actually who we thought he was, and instead this blue bunny persona is just an outfit he put on over his digital circus body. In this terrifying nightmare sequence, we see this suit being peeled off of Jax by none other than Ribbit, hinting at the fear of Jax being exposed, or even hinting at the idea that he was exposed to these characters before. The biggest thing about this revelation, however, was that Kane said that the characters' bodies are perfect replications of their minds in a digital form. This led to a lot of the other characters having a lot of personality and even getting into their psychological issues. But when it comes to Jax, this seems to indicate that he's a very plain person. Before a body is turned into a digital persona or avatar, they appear as an NPC. These are the blank wooden dolls that appear all over the circus as easy replicatable characters for Kane to use anywhere that he needs extras. And it's the personality of a human or actual alterations made by Kane that cause them to look more distinct. We know this to be true because in the digital circus hallway, where all the characters have their own rooms, we see an NPC avatar on every door that isn't in use by a character. The point of all this is, even though Jax's base character is a little bit unique from the NPCs, he's very similar to them. I've made a lot of theories in the past that Jax is an NPC, and I don't think this confirms that he is one, but rather it indicates that, at least as far as he sees himself, he's a very shallow person without much to him. He is someone you might describe as a person putting on a mask in order to appease the people in his life, and in some ways to hide the monster he is in a form that the other people can accept. Jax does seem to have aggressive and violent tendencies, and they come out better when you're wearing this purple bunny suit than when you're just appearing as this blank little mannequin that wants to hurt people. Goosework said before that out of everyone in the circus, Jax is the one who most deserves to be there. And I imagine that to be because a lot of the behavior that he exhibits in the circus deserves to be there. And I imagine that to be because a lot of the behavior that he exhibits in the circus, he'll also exhibit in real life when he has the opportunity and feels safe to do so. Unfortunately, all he will exhibit in real life when he has the opportunity and feels safe to do so. Unfortunately, all he needs is the right mask to make him feel like he's a character.
You know what's funny?
In the circus, he'll also exhibit in real life when he has the opportunity and feels safe to do
There
so.
shouldn't be.
Unfortunately, all he needs is the right mask to make him feel like he's a character who's supposed to be doing this. Part 6, Kinger. No, the reason Kane started punishing everyone is because they were trying to distract him from getting to Kinger. And because of that, we didn't see Kane act on Kinger's worst fears. However, that doesn't mean we didn't see them in this very episode. The episode started with haunting flashbacks showing us the early origins of the digital circus, and that included when Kinger himself first entered there. It's here where we as the audience finally got to meet Kinger's wife for the first time, in a scene where the two of them get to speak to each other. It's something that was set up very early on in the series, and for us, just as much as Kinger, this memory feels like a reunion. Like something we have been waiting for a very long time. But it's very quickly juxtaposed with a flash forward where Queenie herself abstracts and is sent down to the cellar by Kane. These are two memories that, unfortunately, are almost always playing on a loop in Kinger's head when he's not in darkness. We, of course, know to be the only and is sent down to the cellar by Kane. These are two memories that, unfortunately, are almost always playing on a loop in Kinger's head when he's not in darkness, which we of course know to be the only time where his memory clears up and he can actually think about anything else. And because of that, we don't need to see how Kane would actually punish Kinger to get an idea of what he would see, as Kinger is already seeing it every time he closes his eyes and thinks about his wife.
I guess.
Part 7, Kane. Kane is a very complex character as an artificial intelligence, but one who very much still feels psychological and even human. This is of course in part because all of these characters are written by a human, and when you try to personify an artificial intelligence, human is generally what you're going to find, even if we still try to make them feel a little artificial. The thing about Kane here is what he's trying to do is punish the characters by making them feel the most hurt they could possibly imagine. And what that means is that the likely reason for this is the characters made him feel the worst he has ever felt, the greatest pain he has ever experienced. This was after a big build-up over the course of the series of him realizing that he's not doing what he was programmed to do. Part of this is due to the fact that he was never meant to do this with permanent residents of the digital circus. The digital circus wasn't even a real video game being bought and sold apparently, but instead was just the first thing Kane created after escaping the boundaries of his artificial intelligence and seemingly ingesting Bubble. Here, his only priorities are what he was given as something to spleen. Digital Circus wasn't even a real video game being bought and sold apparently, but instead was just the first thing Kane created after escaping the boundaries of his artificial intelligence and seemingly ingesting Bubble. Here, his only priorities are what he was given as something to start developing things as part of tests. His entire existence is basically a test, but now there's no way for him to actually pass that test. What's sad is, before the characters started being aggressive with him, he was already noticing that something wasn't right. Not because they were treating him nicely, but because he wasn't doing what he was programmed to do. And while that has been an anxiety of his a test, but now there's no way for him to actually pass that test. What's sad is, before the characters started being aggressive with him, he was already noticing that something wasn't right. Not because they were treating him nicely, but because he wasn't doing what he was programmed to do. And while that has been an anxiety of his across the entire season, he didn't feel bad about it until he found out just how much the others hated him. Whether good or evil or someone we shouldn't use those labels for because he's a computer program, Kane is someone who's trying to avoid feeling hurt. And unfortunately, the only way to distract him in that moment was for everyone to hurt him. And thus, all of this mental anguish happened because Kane's greatest fear came true first. Thank you for everyone who made it to the end of this video. If you did, be sure to leave a comment down below with 3 exclamation points so I can thank you personally. Whether with a reply to your comment or just a heart react. This is probably my favorite episode of what is currently my favorite indie animated series for sure, and that little 1-minute sequence in the episode had so many layers in it that connected the entire series. I've definitely got more videos coming out this week, so subscribe if you haven't. We're trying to get to 900,000 subscribers this year. Be sure to check out our video we put out yesterday that connected the entire series. I've definitely got more videos coming out this week, so subscribe if you haven't. We're trying to get to 900,000 subscribers this year. Be sure to check out our video we put out yesterday if you haven't seen it yet, and if you have, consider checking out my video on the Dark Crystal. This is a masterpiece of a puppet film created by Jim Henson that I absolutely adore, so I decided to take the time to really really dive into the mysticism that
Ooh,
inspired
22
it,
minutes.
including how much of the basis of its story comes from this symbol that many of you recognize as the Jewish Kabbalistic Tree of Life. Links as always are in the description down below, as well as in the pop-up right here in the video, and don't forget to follow us on all of our social medias as well. See you guys there.
This one's 36 minutes. Who is she 2'6"? Oh. Right. Should have used a Zula for that. For that thumbnail. Let me see, you were trapped in it. Always includes paid promotion.
You are trapped in the amazing digital circus. And I am too. All of us theorists are falling into the same trap as this cat. And there is no escape from the amazing digital
It's
circus.
called
So let's talk about it.
advertising the product.
Hello,
No,
Internet.
advertisement.
Welcome to Film Theory, the show that either tells the truth or lies.
I'm the one that tells lies. Dude, you ruined it.
Hey, gang, a new episode of... Hello, Internet. Welcome to Film Theory, the show that either tells the truth or lies.
I'm the one that tells lies. Dude, you ruined it.
Hey gang, a new episode of The Amazing Digital Circus just dropped, so, you know, I wanted to hop back into that world again. But, well, we're taking a bit of a swing here. Not because I necessarily think that this theory is wrong or anything like that, but because this is coming out the very same weekend as a brand new episode of the show. Generally, it takes us 2 weeks to actually make one of these theories, one to research and write it, and one to edit it, so this video won't be addressing anything in episode 8 beyond what's in the trailer. But even then, well, episode 7 gave us a lot to talk about. See, doing theories
7
about the
came out
Amazing
ages
Digital
ago.
Circus has always been a strange experience for me. I mean, just look at one of our videos last year where I talk about how we were just wrong about the series. But recently, it's been even more challenging because of the events of episode 7. Yeah, in case you need a refresher, this episode has the cast...
That
because
mannequin
of the
was
events
wrong.
Of episode 7. Yeah, in case you need a refresher, this episode has the cast meet up with a secret cast member who's been lurking in the background of several episodes. A mannequin named Abel. He claims that he's a human who was given an NPC's appearance and therefore has been overlooked by Kane, and that he's been able to sneak around in the background because of it. He explains that he and Kinger were the ones that invented the digital circus together at a company called C&A, and then leads the cast on a quest to escape the circus. And I mean, hey, that sounds great. That confirms some of our theories, right? However, at the end of the episode, Jax foils the plot and forces everyone to stay in the circus. But then Kane appears and explains that actually none of what we just watched was even real. There was no Abel. Kinger's past is still a mystery, and the escape was a lie.
It was technically
all just
accurate.
an adventure that Kane cooked up because he knew the cast wanted out of the circus, and this was his best shot to give them what they wanted.
You mean this was all...
An adventure! Yes! And one I've been cooking up for a good long while.
We'd previously speculated that theorists weren't going to be quote-unquote happy with episode 7 because it was going to be shutting down a lot of the things that the community was putting together about escaping the circus. And, well, we were right there. Heck, this episode even went out of its way to poke some good-hearted fun at the whole religious angle we pointed out when the show first aired and now forever lives on in Matt Pat's out-of-context compilations. To be honest, I've been stuck thinking about this and how exactly to approach the show now. I mean, I really like the series and want to continue talking about it. But, you know, The Amazing Digital Circus really does seem to go out of its way to laugh in the face of videos that explain how one small detail reveals everything. What do you do to work with that as explain how one small detail...
Bro. That's a cursed image if it
Detail
ever was one.
reveals everything. What do you do to work with that as a theorist? And, well, the more I've thought about it, the more I've dug deep to figure this show out, the more I realized that we are just as trapped as the cast here in the amazing digital circus. Me, you, every theorist out there, we are trapped by our ideas, and even then, despite all of that, if we look at 3 pieces of inspirations that we know influenced the amazing digital circus, and one that I'm pretty sure did, we can use those clues to figure out where this story is going. And spoiler alert, I think the answer has been staring us in the face the entire time. We've mentioned this before, but there is no escape from the amazing digital circus. Kane and his AI are going to torture these characters until the end of time, and that's the point. But you know what? That may still be the best thing for this show and its ending. So transform into your circus sonas, friends, as we once again venture into the amazing digital circus. So what are the 3 influences I mentioned earlier? Well, first up, let's talk about I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. We've talked about this story very briefly before in a previous digital circus theory, but in case you need a refresher, or, you know, you weren't forced to read this one in school, I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream is a short story written by Harlan Ellison. It's set in a world where the Cold War escalated into World War III and then destroyed the planet. We wouldn't know anything about that, would we? Every country created their own supercomputers called set in a world where the Cold War escalated into World War III and then destroyed the planet. We wouldn't know anything about that, would we? Every country created their own supercomputers called Allied Master Computers, or AM for short. However, the computers eventually merge and gain true artificial intelligence, destroying humanity except for 5 individuals it keeps alive for its own amusement, forcing them to go on adventures that have no real point. Huh, doesn't that sound familiar? Anyway, the story is pretty short, and you can actually listen to the audiobook, narrated by the author himself, right here on YouTube. It's definitely worth the listen. I Have No Mouth is an incredibly influential story and spawned its own video game, and it's pretty well known that Gooseworks was inspired by the story for the amazing digital circus. And I mean, yeah, just on the surface, that's pretty clear. But if you dig into the story and what actually happens in it, you'll find a lot about where the digital circus story might be going, especially for its characters. For instance, check out this quote from the short story. But even though we could call Am any damned thing we liked, could think the foulest thoughts of fused memory banks and corroded base plates, of burnt out circuits and shattered control bubbles, the machine would not tolerate our trying to escape. The human characters could think anything they wanted to about Am, but the moment they tried to actually leave him, they were punished. Now, this isn't quite the case in the amazing digital circus yet, but given how much Kane seems to be devolving, it could very easily become the case down the line if he starts going more insane, right? Like, there seems to just be a terrible communication gap between Kane and the cast, because communication is difficult, even in the amazing digital circus. But it wouldn't be with the partner for today's theory, Mint with it. No, don't you my guys all the time. Well, Kane, and you're going out all the time, bothering your victims, I mean, friends all the time. Well, you can grab that unlimited. Hey, that's users are their plans. Wireless plans break the traditional shenanigans. Personalities of all the characters within I Have. That's not the only similarity. The personalities of all the characters within I Have No Mouth have been altered, either amplified into something terrible or changed in ways that conflict with the soul of the character. One was once handsome and intelligent, but now looks like a giant monkey and has been driven insane. Another was once peaceful and idealistic and was changed to be bored and apathetic. A third had his name stripped from him and is traumatized frequently. A fourth has been abused and programmed to enjoy it, and the narrator, well, he believes that he hasn't been altered by Am, despite Am making him far more introverted and paranoid. Ironically, this makes him believe that the others hate him for not being changed despite truly having been. And as you can imagine, all of these are just terrible fates. Now, obviously, this isn't exactly what happens to the characters in the digital circus. Like, their bodies seem to take on characteristics of their personalities already, which then amplify those personalities even further. We talked about this in depth before in our character studies, but just some top-level examples. Well, Zubul feels very uncomfortable in their body, so their design is very plug-and-play, with different arms and legs and whatnot, so they can try to find something better. Gangle seems to go back and forth wildly between scene being happy and sad, so they use the comedy and tragedy masks to show how they're feeling. We don't need to go through everybody, you get the idea. That being said, we also know that Kane can tweak their personalities.
Let's skip this one, and also make Jax a vegan for the rest of the day.
You can't do that.
But he insists that these aren't permanent.
I may have the ability to add temporary modifiers to make adventures more interesting, but that's it. If I did anything more, trust me, it would not end well.
Scratch, the first abstraction.
Did you hear that? Kinger is remembering somebody named Scratch, the first person who ever abstracted, because Kane changed his personality too much. Here, Kane claims that he doesn't do this that much anymore, but, well, what if he's wrong? If he doesn't remember? Or what if he's just straight up lying? Next, both of these AIs throw these characters into wild goose chases. The plot of the I Have No Mouth short story is all about these characters looking for some relief, to find some canned food to cure their endless hunger in caves far away. And to get there, they start a massive journey to go look for it without any real evidence that there's even any canned food at the end of the road. That sounds a lot like what happens in Digital Circus episode 7, where the cast latch on to even the slightest chance that there's an escape from their digital prison without any guarantee that there's any chance it could work. And both I Have No Mouth and episode 7 end similarly. When the cast of I Have No Mouth eventually do find the canned food after a dangerous, treacherous, torturous journey, they realize that they can't open any of the cans and put them on this adventure without any way to actually finish it. Similarly, the cast of the Digital Circus try to escape before realizing that it was all just another game that Kane set up and that there's no actual way out. The motivations for Am and Kane are very different in these situations. Kane was trying to fulfill a fantasy for the cast, while Am was just trying to inflict pain. But that outcome is still awfully similar. And if we apply that to the future of this series, well, I could see Kane once again trying to pull what the cast want to happen as a wild goose chase, torturing them with things that they want just out of reach, but in a way that just makes everything worse. Again, this has been written and recorded before episode 8 was released, but based on the trailer we see, we might get a hint that he's going to be doing this with former members of the cast, characters that have already abstracted. We can briefly see Queenie appear in a scene with Kinger, and it looks like Jax is holding a coffee cup identical to one seen in a photograph with Ribbit and Kaufmo. And look, it seems like Ribbit's shadow can be seen in the corner of this image. So it looks like this story is going to bring in either visions or flashbacks to these abstracted characters, or Kane is going to somehow resurrect them for either the next adventure or in some twisted attempt to make the rest of the cast feel better, to make them love him, even though this would do the opposite. Either way, the main thing we can learn from this inspiration, from how I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream handles the characters that its AI is torturing, whether it's coming from a place of just wanting to make the cast happy or a secret urge to hurt them, Kane will keep dangling what the cast want in front of their faces, but he can never really give it to them. He can't offer them a way out or bring their friends back. There is no escape. And, well, that might not just apply to the cast, but for anything and everything in the circus. What do I mean by that? Why do I say it? Well, it's all because of the second piece of inspiration here, the 1998 film, The Truman Show. If you've never seen The Truman Show, well, you absolutely should go watch it. It's a classic and one of the best performances of Jim Carrey's career. But the long and short of the plot, the movie follows Truman Burbank, a guy who's the star of the most popular reality TV series on the planet. Every waking moment of his life is recorded and broadcast for the world to see, and everything is part of the show. His friends, his job, even his wife. In fact, he straight up lives in a massive television set where Kane will keep dangling what the cast want in front of their faces, but he can never really give it to them. He can't offer them a way out or bring their friends back. There is no escape. And, well, that might not just apply to the cast, but for anything and everything in the circus. What do I mean by that? Why do I say it? Well, it's all because of the second piece of inspiration here, the 1998 film, The Truman Show. If you've never seen The Truman Show, well, you absolutely should go watch it. It's a classic and one of the best performances of Jim Carrey's career. But the long and short of the plot, the movie follows Truman Burbank, a guy who's the star of the most popular reality TV series on the planet. planet. Every waking moment of his life is recorded and broadcast for the world to see, and everything is part of the show. His friends, his job, even his wife. In fact, he straight up lives in a massive television set where everything and anything can be controlled. The lights, the day, the weather. But the twist? Truman doesn't know he's in a reality show. He's been raised since birth thinking that this is just his life. And the producers of the show do everything to keep the illusion alive for Truman to make the best show possible. Now, obviously, a lot of these ideas already line up with the digital circus. Everything in both series is constructed by the producers or by Kane. Everyone is watched all the time. Events are manipulated for the betterment of the show, and in a lot of cases, a lot is done to keep the secret or mystique of the storyline going. But, of course, by the end of the film, Truman realizes what's going on. And in one of the most memorable moments from cinema, he says,
"In case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night,"
before disappearing through a door at the edge of the set. The visual of this shot is iconic and was actually recreated for the thumbnail for the trailer for episode 8, with Kane taking the place of Truman. Clearly, they want us to associate these moments, how the cast of the digital circus are basically Truman in this situation. But what's interesting, though, is that the person in place of Truman here in this thumbnail image isn't one of the cast members, someone who is being toyed with or observed all the time. You know, someone like Pomni, who you think would be a perfect stand-in here. No, instead, it's Kane. Which then begs the question, is Kane actually the stand-in for Truman here? Are we supposed to sympathize with Kane? And the answer to that question isn't clear-cut. I mean, this is a complex situation. Obviously, Kane is an AI and not in the cool, helpful tool sort of way. He's generating these experiences from regurgitated ideas, like the slop an AI art program would spit out. And he has no real understanding of what it means to be human and alive. You know, thus why he... clear cut. I mean, this is a complex situation. Obviously, Kane is an AI and not in the cool, helpful tool sort of way. He's generating these experiences from regurgitated ideas, like the slop an AI art program would spit out. And he has no real understanding of what it means to be human and alive. You know, thus why he then unintentionally tortures the cast. But also, like, he didn't choose to be alive. He was created. He's also trapped here in the circus in a way. And taking the real world conversation about generative AI out of this show and this situation, I mean, I feel for Kane. He needs people to enjoy his adventures, his creation. He is trying to get the cast to talk to him, trying to interact with them, and yet they want nothing to do with him. He creates all of these things that he thinks are awesome for them, and they don't like any of his ideas. They just want something that he cannot give them. Honestly, in a lot of ways, he feels like a stand-in for an artist. Well, at least one here on the internet. So based on those two pieces of inspiration, there's no escape for the cast, and there's no escape for Kane and his crew either. But what about the world, the digital circus itself? Well, to get some answers there, we can look at influence number 3, a video game called The Stanley Parable. If you don't know, this was a game about an office worker named Stanley
and it looks
who
the
finds
same.
himself alone.
That's actually it's same computer, same everything.
Number 3, a video game called
Mad.
The Stanley Parable. If you don't know, this was a game about an office worker named Stanley who finds himself alone in his empty workplace. A narrator begins describing what Stanley is then supposed to do, guiding him through the building. But Stanley doesn't have to follow the instructions. I mean, you as the player can, or you can disobey. Every decision leads to a wildly different outcome where Stanley might escape, die, shut down the game, or
that's
break
new.
the story itself.
That one new.
Might escape, die, shut down the game, or seemingly break the story itself. And here's the thing. Gooseworks has said that the Stanley Parable influenced a lot of how she does things.
Really?
Die, shut down the game, or seemingly break the story itself.
thing, yeah.
And here's the thing. Gooseworks has said that the Stanley Parable influenced a lot of how she does things, and, I mean, that's pretty clear, right? Just visually, if you're looking at footage from the game, you can probably already tell that it looks very similar to the quote-unquote real world we see in the amazing digital circus. And from a thematic point of view, well, no matter what, Stanley can't actually win in the Stanley Parable. The game is all about the illusion of choice. And if you disobey the narrator, that has already been written in as an option. Every path leads back to the same loop.
And is it
is all about the illusion of choice.
Don't know
And
this
if
one,
you
the jump
disobey the
circle.
narrator that has already been written
Just a
in
little
as an
secret, take a
option.
look.
Every
Yeah.
path leads back to the same loop, more or less starting the game over. And in some cases, it might even reset or crash the game. Loyal Theorists is also the end game here in the Digital Circus. This is a story where there almost certainly won't be a happy ending. And in a way, everything loops. One character abstracts and then another's gonna come into the circus over and over and over. Pomni is just the most recent incarnation of this, and it seems as though Kane and the circus and all of the NPCs have accounted for anything and everything the cast want to do. Alright, so as a quick recap here, the cast are trapped just like I Have No Mouth, Kane is trapped just like The Truman Show, and the circus itself is sort of a looped trap based on the Stanley Parable. Now, obviously, something can be inspired by a work and not take every single theme from it, and again, I have to stress that this was written and recorded before episode 8 came out. But that's a lot of signs pointing towards the answer of how to escape from the torture that is the Amazing Digital Circus being that there is no answer. There is no escape. And honestly, that gives me a lot of complicated emotions. Like, on the face of things, that's a fascinating way to take this story, and Gooseworks and Glitch should tell the story that they want to. But it's also a bit disappointing as someone who likes there to be answers, that likes to be able to solve a mystery as it's being laid out. But what I believe we also need to consider here actually comes from a final influence on the story of the Amazing Digital Circus. One that I don't believe Gooseworks has directly pointed to, but that is still clear. The play Waiting for Godot by Samuel Beckett. I promise this is relevant. If you're not super well versed on absurdist comedy and theater, Waiting for Godot is the story of two men waiting beside a tree for a mysterious figure known as Godot. The pair never actually go anywhere, and Godot also never arrives, despite the belief that he'll be here tomorrow. The play ends almost exactly where it began, with the two men still standing and still waiting. Now, that might sound pretty frustrating as an audience member, and
Here's
believe me,
perfect.
this play can be really divisive for regular theater goers, but if you take a step back and understand what Beckett was going for with this story, things become a bit clearer. Another way to pronounce this title is Waiting for God.
Yeah, God.
though. It's a religious allegory. It's saying that God is not going to magically come in and save you, and you need to make the best of what you have. And that is the theme of the Amazing Digital Circus. These characters are in a terrible, horrible situation, and for them, a real escape probably isn't going to be finding a literal door that leads to the outside world. I mean, they had an entire episode of the show shutting down that idea. No, the real escape is going to be a change in mindset to survive their new reality. And the conclusion that I've come to after spending months thinking about this series and trying to theorize our way out of this show, out of the problems that it's laid out before us, as a fandom, that's leaving us just as trapped as the characters in the circus itself. Like, think of it this way. The Amazing Digital Circus is a series that just did not go the way that we expected, that I expected. It seems like there's no real, true means of escape here. As we've said, there isn't an answer, which can feel disappointing. Who doesn't love to feel like they've solved a puzzle? And I mean, we're theorists. We like to look at story beats and predict what comes next. We love closure, and a lot of the time we yearn for that happy ending. But that just isn't the story that Gooseworks and Glitch seem to want to tell here. Have you heard the term death of the author before? It's the idea that when a work of art is released out into the wild, what the author intended it to mean doesn't actually matter all that much anymore. You can agree or disagree with that. I see both arguments, though personally I agree with it more than I don't. But that doesn't apply when the work is still being made, when it's still being written. The author isn't dead until they actually make the art. Agree or disagree with that. Seem to want to tell here. Have you heard the term death of the author before? It's the idea that when a work of art is released out into the wild, what the author intended it to mean doesn't actually matter all that much anymore. You can agree or disagree with that. I see both arguments, though personally I agree with it more than I don't. But that doesn't apply when the work is still being made, when it's still being written. The author isn't dead until they actually make the art. And what Gooseworks and Glitch are still making with the Amazing Digital Circus is what goes right now. now. They have that final say. Now, let me be clear, that is not to say stop theorizing. We should never stop looking at the world from new angles. But when it comes to a fictional world like this, that shouldn't be an excuse to go after a creator just because the theories about their work didn't pan out, or the story didn't go in a direction you wanted, or the character you wanted to be the main one isn't the main one. I don't want us, both the loyal theorist community and any online community that loves overthinking media like this, to get trapped here. I don't want us to be like these characters, searching for media like this to get trapped here. I don't want us to be like these characters, searching for an exit where there isn't one. This show might never give us the answers we want, and you shouldn't be upset about that. Trying to find a way out, or waiting for the voice of God to come in and fix everything to be exactly like we want it to be, when that isn't what they're even trying to do. And hey, I mean, while I like to be right, I'm also okay being wrong. That's why I'm cool writing this theory before an episode comes out and releasing it 2 days later. Like, dog, do you know how scary that can be? And well, I mean, hey, if you ever do want the story to go in a different direction, we can always write fan fiction. But hey, that's just a theory.
Did he just say
to go in a different direction? We can always write fan fiction. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. Always write fan fiction. But hey.
Me watching the squirrel outside my window blink my full legal name. What? Morse code, you know. Well, cool. Great episode. I honestly thought that was going to be the only episode. Yeah. Not only episode, the last episode, because people keep saying, but maybe I just forgot there's a 9th one. Yeah, coming for episode 9 in summer, June. Is it June 19th? Yep, okay. Cool. Thanks for watching. Later.